Welcome back. This is our baked cake and start slicing. And the trick is get yourself 12 to 14 inch slicer. Make sure it's bigger than the cake and we're going to start slicing. Trick is you hold your hand and you turn as you're slicing. And one of the tips is make sure your cake is in the fridge overnight. It makes it much easier to cut, and you want to save all the scraps, and I'll show you why later. Our first layer. And you always want to turn as you're slicing. And you want to get 12, usually get about 6 slicers per half. And the bottom layer, which will be the first layer, you want it a little bit thicker than the other layers because it's the foundation of the cake. If not, your slices will flop over.
How thin would you say these are?
Huh?
How thin are the slices?
I would say probably half an inch or less. And you never want to cut warm cake. You always want to keep it in the fridge, either overnight or at least 6 to 12 hours. Makes it much easier to cut. And once you get to the bottom, you kind of eyeball it, see how many layers you're going to get, because you always want the bottom layer to be a little bit thicker. So as you can see, I'll probably get one more slice out of here. And this will be our bottom layer, which will flip over.
Juan wants to know, where can I buy this cake?
You could either, there's about 3 ways we can go about getting the cake. The first one is through the Neiman Marcus catalog. Second one is through the Strip House website, or you can pick it up at either Strip House location, Midtown or downtown. Through Neiman Marcus and the Strip House website, it's next day delivery. And we ship slightly frozen cakes, but they're always fresh. It just needs to be frozen just for delivery. And then our scraps, you could break it up, dry it in the oven, and you're gonna grind it up, and that's gonna be your crumbs you're gonna use for the sides of the cake. So now that we got all our layers, the next step will be we're going to start filling.
Madeline wants to know where she can get that knife.
You could, well now obviously you could get it through Amazon, but if you want a fancier JB prints, other than that there's online knife stores that you could go, but I hope either Amazon or JB prints. And these are delicious chocolate custards. All the chocolate that goes into the cake are all imported from Spain. We use a mix of bittersweet for the custard, and we use a 64% mix for our ganache. So we're gonna do There's two halves to this cake. The first half, you always want to do, I'm starting with the top layer, the top half, sorry. You probably put about 3 to 4 ounces of custard. And spread it evenly. And you always want to make sure you get to the edge, because you're going to use that extra bit of custard for your sides of the cake. Pat it down so you get the even layers. Our next round of custard. Always pat down each layer. And this triangle spatula works the best. Just now the difference between the two halves is the first half, the top half is going to get the ganache, and then when you fill the bottom half, your last layer is going to have custard. So as we get to the top layer, so this is our top half. Pat it down, and you want to put it in the freezer 1.5 to 2 hours. Now a bottom layer.
Anna says, looks like you've made a few of these.
Yeah, we probably send out probably, I want to say maybe 5,000 to 6,000 cakes through our Neiman Marcus or through the Strip House website, not including what we've made in-house.
Amanda wants to know who gets to lick the spatula.
Usually the cooks, right before I clean up though, somebody always wants to lick the spatulas. Now this bottom half, the top layer will get custard. Because once the two halves are frozen, we take the top half and we're going to put it on top of the bottom half. Just pat it down. And I forgot to mention, for this cake we use 12x3 pans. And the tip for when you fill is you use spring fold pans to easily take the cake out.
Tracy wants to know if you have other flavors, like vanilla.
We do cheesecake. We do have red velvet cake, but we only have chocolate cake. We're almost getting there. Just one more layer.
has requested peanut butter on it.
Well, here in the city we get a lot of allergies, so we always kind of try to stay away. Usually, mostly peanuts. But if you're at home, it's up to you. You could do peanut butter, custard, vanilla. The main trick is freezing both halves to get the high cake. Okay. Yeah, a little bit more. Right. And this is our bottom layer. Now that our cakes have been frozen, our next step is we're going to put the ganache. So ganache is basically cream and chocolate mixture. You bring heavy cream to a slight boil, and you add your chocolate. You could do white chocolate. This is bittersweet Tobago, which is imported from Spain. That's about 64% chocolate. And you want to start in the middle. And now, just move it around till you get to the edges. Now this will take about, I would say, 10 minutes to set. 10 to 15. Now the trick is to get the bubbles out, because you will get some bubbles. You bang it on the table or with your hand. This one are frozen halves. So now that we got our two halves frozen, here we got this been frozen about almost 2 hours. Second. Slowly, I want to bring it out. One. The trick to getting the cake out is a butane torch. 1 second.
You got it?
Sorry about that. You always want to take the top half, almost it first, because that's the top that's going to go, the half that's going to go on the bottom layer. You want to make sure you warm it up really good so that all the custard comes off and stays on the cake. And you gotta be careful, it will get hot. We're almost there. Just a little bit more. There we go. And you want to slide it through the bottom so you don't ruin the edges of the cake. There we go. That's the first half. Now our bottom half. And we get slight, so it melts a little bit, so the bottom half, oh, sorry, the top half stick to the bottom half. Almost there. And just a little bit more. And just our bottom half. We leave on the turntable. And now we take our top half. And this is the reason why you freeze it. If not, it would just flop over. And it makes it much easier just to get it aligned. And now we smooth out the edges, and this is the reason we spread the custard all the way to the edge, so you can have that little bit extra custard to even it out.
How many hours total does this take?
Start to finish, probably baking time, baking the cake, probably an hour of baking time, 20-30 minutes to put the cake together, to fill the cake, sorry, and another 5-10 minutes for the ganache, and then another 10 minutes to put the two halves together. And just the crumbs that we use, so you don't lose any of the cake. You dry it in the oven, and you could either put it through a grinder or a rubber coupe, and you sift it, and you get with no lumps. And I'm gonna crumb the sides. Make sure just to the edge so you don't get any on top of the cake. You can just take a little bit extra custard. It's not sticking. Sometimes when it's too frozen, the crumbs doesn't stick. to the top. And this is our finished chocolate cake. And now I'm gonna cut into one so you guys can see the layers. Now the trick to cutting our cake is a very hot knife. You can either use a torch, but we recommend heating up some water first. And the trick to getting our slices is we use a cake marker. Usually they come in different sizes. This is a 10 and a 12. Our cakes at the restaurant are cut into 10. And it easily marks the cake for you.
People are very excited.
Now, first you mark it. And the trick is go straight down. This cake is a little bit soft on the soft side, so this is what our slices look like. It's almost, I would say, a pound each, and you can see our layers and a beautiful ganache right on top.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having
Thank you very much.
today. You did such a great job.
Thank you for watching. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye.